All right, everyone, we should be live. Let's make sure that is actually the case. And go over to Rumble. We don't have to worry about Twitch today because they banned me. I'll be laughing about that later because it's hilarious, actually. Yes, indeed, banned on Twitch. Oh my God, what is the world coming to? I never saw it coming, and it was totally not predictable or anything like that. But yeah, first we got to get to the Mar-a-Lago raid stuff, and also a suggestion by Ron Filipkowski. Oh, Filipkowski, sorry. A Ukrainian flag in bio, so you know it'll be an intelligent take. Very, very good pitch for the Republican Party, actually. Got to admit, the Republicans are sounding better every single day because of the hyperbole of the left. Let's make sure that we're actually live on Rumble really quickly, though. There are people watching, so I assume that the video feed is taking. Yeah, we're live on Rumble. And I see plenty of people down there in the comments, too. We'll start right off. First news topic. Eric Trump tells DailyMail.com what really happened in the FBI raid. President's son says 30 agents refused to hand over the warrant, kicked the lawyer off the property, rifled through clothes, and how Mar-a-Lago staff refused to turn off security cameras. So just to be clear, they are supposed to hand over the warrant at some point during a raid. This was not like a boom crash raid where they're worried about, by the way, somebody firing on them or something. This was just a general raid. You'd think that they would give a copy of the warrant at the very least to Trump's lawyer, but he's claiming they would not give her the search warrant, he claimed. So they showed it to her from about 10 feet away. They would not give her a copy of the search warrant. If that's true, then that just adds to the Banana Republic shenanigans that have apparently gone on here. Eric said he would be thrilled to find out if there was a valid search warrant. So now they're claiming that there wasn't a warrant actually offered. The FBI declined to comment on DailyMail.com on the raid, and Eric's claim no search warrant was handed over to Trump's legal team. Bob also told Real America News on Tuesday she was able to see the warrant but claimed that it was partially sealed, making it impossible for her to see what the probable cause was that compelled a judge to approve the raid. She also did not suggest she had received a physical copy. So yeah, apparently the legal team there is claiming, and if this is true, it's fairly damning with regards to the raid itself. They're claiming that they didn't get a copy of the warrant, which sort of undercuts some of the liberals' claims. Well, Trump has a copy. He just needs to disclose it, which is not what you're supposed to do, by the way. But going beyond that, if you don't have a copy of the warrant, it's kind of hard to do so. Any competent lawyer would not advise their client under any circumstances, innocent or guilty, by the way, to disclose the contents of any ongoing legal case. It's like when content creators have some legal problem, like, copyright or whatever, and the first thing they do is they make a video on the subject. I sit there and I chuckle at it. Sometimes it's like, oh, I thought you were intelligent. And other times it's like, well, I'm not particularly surprised. Jocko Slapbass, thoughts on Andrew Tate? I have no thoughts on Andrew Tate. Fire down below. Do you think crypto is bouncing back, or are you still waiting to see if there's another big dip to buy in? By the way, people can donate crypto to me. There are various keys in the description. You can send cryptocurrency to me. I gladly accept it. I'm bullish on it. Some people are bearish and they think that it's going to go to zero. Well, then you might as well offload a few bucks to your favorite YouTuber, right? Baron Von Blair, good morning. Sticks and Lovelies, clank. Yeah, so right now we have a legally dubious situation. We're not exactly sure, I think, what happened. The FBI may weigh in on this, but they're not going to say that much about an ongoing case. They're not going to tell you if they actually got anything juicy. Apparently, the safe that they cracked was effectively empty, and then they brought a bunch of papers out, and we're not exactly sure what those papers were. The assumption by people that don't like Trump is, well, it was stacks and stacks of top secret documents. The assumption among other people, those that don't hate Trump, is there's nothing there. Just because there are papers that are taken from a house during a raid does not mean that anything actually legally actionable is found. Mark Guidetti, Ian Crossland is insane and super annoying and should be fired from Timcast. I noticed there's an uptick in comments regarding Timcast and his show on my streams lately. This is my stream. This isn't the Timcast show. Yeah, I guess the idea is that the FBI wants us to believe that Trump just had a bunch of cardboard boxes with top secret documents laying around in the Mar-a-Lago and never once thought, hey, there might be a problem legally here. Yeah, I've been queried by the National Archives, but I'm sure everything will be okay. I'm sure it'll be perfectly fine. And the timing as well, when Trump was away, was a little bit suspect. You've got fucking pictures here from the actual raid. It's hilarious that they would show up to the Mar-a-Lago fully armed, as though they expected any possibility that anyone at the Mar-a-Lago is going to retaliate against federal agents. Yes, that's very likely. I noticed that what people like Hillary Clinton have been blamed for is at least roughly similar: data retention and destruction, basically. There was no raid there. You don't even have anything beyond a preliminary investigation, I guess, into Hunter Biden, and he committed multiple felonies on camera. It's laws for thee, but not for me. And again, it's another reason why I will vote for Donald Trump. I will probably write him in even if he's not the Republican nominee, to be clear, unless somebody else is minted by him to run, like a Rand Paul. If you get like a Ted Cruz presidential nomination, I'm not going to bother. Mark Guidetti, breaking news, the FBI official changed its name to the Gestapo. Well, it never changed. It was to begin with. The FBI initially was incepted in the Tommy gun toting era many, many years ago, back before basically anyone was alive, because of Prohibition. But Prohibition ended, but the FBI managed to never go away. Technically, it's only there under emergency orders and has been for what, fucking 80, 90 years or something like that. Yeah. A retired FBI special agent in charge, Michael Tapman, who served the agency for 24 years, said a raid of this level of sensitivity would need to be approved by Attorney General Merrick Garland. Yes, they're also trying to cast this off as a local and regional sort of thing. Well, a district judge there who has, presides in that part of Florida, was the go-to man who decided to okay this FBI raid. There's no FISA. Merrick Garland didn't know. Supposedly, no one in the White House was made aware. And again, I would consider that a very severe dereliction. If the White House didn't make sure that something was in place, knowing there was an ongoing investigation, if they did not tell the FBI, look, you need to give us a heads up beforehand because you could literally start riots if you raid the Mar-a-Lago. So you need to tell us, give us a few days beforehand to prep just in case anything happens in D.C., in parts of Florida especially. If they did not do this, that's damning of the Beijing Biden, the Banana Republic Biden administration, I guess you can call it now. And of course they knew. Biden was probably briefed on it, if not Biden, at least others within the White House that have the mental capability to actually make their own decisions. Drelo, Lamestream MSNBC had an article about why Trump hasn't released the search warrant yet. Has he even gotten a copy? I don't know. Apparently, Eric Trump is saying that a copy was not necessarily forthcoming. Now, that could be lost in translation, like he just didn't see it getting handed over to the lawyer or something. That's possible. I think legally speaking, they have no choice but to give a copy of the warrant. They didn't arrest anyone. They just came in. They had probable cause supposedly to search the premises. No individual is named. They're supposed to give a warrant to some legal representative. As far as I know, under U.S. law, that's required. Rockhopper 392. DOJ and FBI claiming deplorable threats as result of raid. False flag incoming. Yeah, stupid individuals might retaliate, not understanding how the process works. It won't be clankers doing it, though. Everyone here has been warned not to do stupid shit. Sebastian Monroe, I love your funny words, Magic Man. Take my money. Logan Davis, the U.S. currently has 42 live emergencies underway. Yes, there are a lot of them. Authorizing various government overreaches, you will notice. Luka Pilipovic, watching weirdos laugh at Trump because he's pleaded the fifth is bizarre. Don't they realize this is Banana Republic stuff? Yeah, no, he's going to go into a hearing that is clearly combative. Its literal purpose is not to jail him or charge him. They're not looking for that. They're looking for sound bites. So he just pleads the fifth over and over. He deprives them of that, so they have to do the next best thing, which is say, well, one time, in a completely unrelated and totally different case, he claimed that people that pleaded the fifth were like mobsters, which is half true. Yeah, okay, that's wonderful. Battle Elf. Hey, Sticks, I was contacted by a 3-letter government agency yesterday. They left a voice message. What's your advice besides hire an attorney? Hire another attorney if you can. It depends on the agency and what they wanted. Adam THM, even with many states freezing their odd on taxes, it has done little to reduce prices. At best, instead of paying double, you're paying 1.5 the price. Yeah, the prices aren't actually falling. Gas prices came down. I guess, will Beijing Biden claim that Putin is still responsible for the gas prices? For a couple months there, he did. All of a sudden, Joe Biden is very prescient when it comes to the issue. Sparky, FBI originally was to enforce butter taxes, I think. Yeah, it was basically a mobster enforcement era. Taxes and more taxes. And in the Tommy gun era, things were involving liquor, mainly. Colin Madden, loved your take on Jack the Ripper, even if I didn't necessarily agree. Is there a source you based your hypothesis on? My understanding of history, late 19th century, especially London and places like that, great deal of upper-class social reformist movement, a burgeoning yellow press, you could call it, yellow journalism, and a more and more literate middle class, and they were sandwiched between the rich and the dregs. And my idea is that lots and lots of murders happened in Whitechapel and similar blighted areas in the Western world anyway. But people finally took notice. And when they finally took notice and started locking their doors and shit, they started buying up newspapers to read about the latest killing. And people said, well, the killings seem topically similar. They must be related. And forensics and investigation at the time was very primitive compared to today. And it was encouraged by the upper class reform crowd because it was a way to scare people into giving them their way. The progressives of the day wanted those donations. Stephen Nizek, I'm just glad that Nixon wasn't a Democrat. Otherwise, we would have never heard of Watergate, and Mark Felt would be mysteriously washed up on the banks of the Potomac. Yeah, possible. Hunter Wadley, they're just doing anything they can before November. This is August-ish. Is it going to get crazier? Predictions for October. Yeah, you haven't seen crazy yet. Much like I said in 2020, that 2021 would be crazier, and 2022 as well. You ain't seen nothing yet, boy. Kyle Gergic, could we set up an app to see who the IRS targets? Seems like it will be statistically significant. It would just get trolled, in all honesty. Great idea on paper, but it would just get trolled. By feds, in part. 4D Kids over on Rumble. Why do non-POC not use Caucasian more often now that white is more of a slur to be used against even non-whites? I don't know. I'm not from the Caucasus Mountains, just to be clear about my origins. Next, we have the Federalist weighing in. We have no reason to trust the FBI. If Republicans were doing any of this, Democrats would be calling it authoritarian. And they'd be right. Yeah, I concur. We libertarians have been warning you morons for decades and decades about these government bureaus not being trustworthy. I hearken back. I seem to remember a time, not to cast too much shade on anyone watching here. Did I not, back years and years ago, warn people about trusting the FBI to bring closure on the Hillary Clinton case? Did I not say that nothing would come of it and that there was a 99% chance that they effectively come out and say, nothing happened here, it's all good? What ended up happening? You're trusting these bureaus. You shouldn't be. They are inherently corrupt. They are power structures. They can be more or less corrupt. Yeah, well, one bureau might not be as corrupt and politicized as the other, but they're all politicized. Mr. Twisted Frenzy, is it true that Al Capone is the reason we have expiration dates on products like milk? I do not know that story, but I do know that they nailed him on tax evasion in the end. Yeah, he gunned down a bunch of people, but because of, various mobster ways, he didn't get nailed for those. People were too afraid and or too sympathetic. They got him on tax evasion. Michael Ferguson, is cereal a soup? And if so, is milk considered a broth or a gravy? Yes, cereal is technically a soup and the milk is its broth. Sparky, attorneys often betray clients now. Flynn, Jones, yeah, many such cases. Make sure your lawyer is trustworthy, preferably someone who is literally sympathetic towards you and your views. Might want to look up their social media beforehand. Maybe we need to have like a lawyer social media like compilation app or something like that. And then they can get ratings to see how liberal or conservative they are or something. Yeah. The day before Donald Trump beat Hillary Clinton in the presidential election of 2016, the New York Times' Paul Krugman claimed that the FBI, along with Russian intelligence, had rigged the election. Yes, he did. Fact check true. Election denialism is perfectly acceptable behavior on the left. Krugman blamed the rigged election on people within the FBI, who he asserted clearly felt that under Mr. Comey they had a free hand to indulge their political preferences, by which he meant the investigation in Clinton's email server. Yeah, they investigated it, and they found plenty of evidence of wrongdoing. And then Comey was cucked and forced to come out at the 11th hour and say, well, yeah, she did lots and lots of crimes. But there was no malice. She didn't really know what she was doing, and so she skates. She goes off scot-free. And I told people at the time that while Comey himself may have made the decision to cast shade on Hillary Clinton, trusting bureaus in general is a losing proposition. If you believe in liberty, you can't also believe in bureaucracy. They are mutually exclusive at this point. It doesn't matter who incepts them. Trump creates a bureaucracy, it'll be corrupted. Clinton creates a bureaucracy, Obama creates a bureaucracy, Biden, it doesn't matter who does so. It doesn't matter what their ideology is. The true liberty lovers are never going to create that bureaucracy. Libertarian administration, you're not going to get an expansion or anything of the IRS like we're getting under Joe Biden. You're not going to get the EPA on steroids or something like that now, will you? Is the case that investigating a candidate for wrongdoing is rigging an election? Yesterday, Merrick Garland's DOJ raided the home of a former president and likely future presidential candidate in a case regarding potential mishandling of classified documents, according to the WAPO. We have long been told that mishandling of classified documents isn't a serious crime. Yeah, well, it's not. You're not talking about significant charges. Oh, wait, actually, it was Donald Trump that extended the charges to felony status up to 5 years in prison. I wonder why they fucking decided to go after him on this. Was it because then he can't argue against his own the suggestion that it should be upgraded in terms of being a crime as a reaction to Hillary Clinton? This is the deep state's way of trying to mock him. The problem is I don't think there were any classified documents there that weren't declassified by Trump himself. I don't think that the charges, if they bring any at all, stick. I think it's horseshit. And also, I think that it's going to backfire in a spectacular manner. Battle Elf, I feel so presidential. Lev Polyakov, looking forward to speaking with you and Alex Stein tomorrow on BreakTheRules.tv. Yes, definitely. I will be sharing that out, of course, tomorrow before we go live. I will be talking with Alex Stein tomorrow with Lev on Break the Rules. He's been trolling up a storm. It's no longer just AOC. Asphalt Man 11, do the left understand that pendulum swings in the opposite direction with equal force? There's no such thing as pendulum politics, per se. Now, it all tends to be fucking authoritarian. But yeah, the general notion is correct. One party has authoritarian powers. It abuses them. It loses power. The other party gladly takes up that power, builds upon it, and does the same thing. Rusty Shackelford. Sticks, there is no escape. Dark Brandon will come for us all and put an end to our malarkey. Yeah, that's the most astroturfed meme so far this decade. Silver Kestrel. Can't wait for 24. All that alphabet soup is far past expiration date. Time to clean the shelves. Agreed. Sparky, Dan Greider, probable cause, solved DB Cooper case. There are a million different competing explanations for the DB Cooper case, to be clear. You can link me, though. Send me a link on Twitter, and I'll check out if you got a documentary or something like that. Stephen Salmon, when are you going to come visit us in the west of Ireland? I'd love to see Ireland sometime, especially for all the yummy food. Brett D, assuming Trump runs, who would you like to see as his running mate? Should he take race and gender into account? Nikki Haley, Tim Scott? Both of those are off of my fucking list, especially Nikki Haley. No, Kristi Noem if he wants to go the gender route, otherwise Rand Paul. Doc Holliday. The examples of supposed new online threats against the FBI and DOJ are laughable compared to what I see coming from the left against Trump. Yeah, there's constant violent ideation there. Sparky, turned out the first copycat was also DB Cooper. Again, send me a link. That sounds interesting. Krok Manar, why is the U.S. negotiating with the Iranians after they put out a hit on former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and Security Advisor John Bolton? This is an act of war. Who cares what the Iranians want to do? I don't give a shit. I don't care if they get the bomb. Oh, yeah. Now we've got a Vox article. The Republican response to the Mar-a-Lago raid should scare you. You should be terrified because politicians are in thrall to a dangerously conspiratorial view of the U.S. government. Yes, smaller government bad. There is no corruption in the government, say the liberals that have been whining about government corruption literally for 3 fucking decades nonstop. They even jumped down Obama's throat, at least mildly, with regards to certain aspects of corruption. I noticed that the corporate and government branding has gotten so powerful over their minds that they no longer do that, even though the dude in charge is not actually in charge at all. To be clear, Joe Biden's just a steward. Head of the FBI has more power than him, probably. Yeah, the FBI has never done anything untoward. Richard Spencer, by the way, agrees with Vox now, so we've come definitely full circle. I was ridiculing that on Twitter earlier. The CIA, ICE, no government agency does anything wrong. Are you going to extend that to agencies that you don't like ICE, ICE, immigration and customs enforcement? Liberals don't generally like them. Is there any corruption there? No, of course not. Funny thing is, I would agree with the liberals on it. I'd say, yeah, of course there's human trafficking, fucking drug trade and stuff. Yeah, these agents can make a huge amount of money. Oh, we just caught this narco. He's got like 100,000 fucking fentanyl pills or something like that. But if I just take the fall this one time, I can get my wife that mink coat and nobody's going to find out about it because Biden won't even listen to us. Okay, you can go across the border. By the way, leave me a vial of that fucking fentanyl. Give me your number so I can get more, shithead. Strong and grand. Hey, Sticks, we're coming up on the anniversary of the butchering of the Afghanistan withdrawal thanks to Jim Crow Joe. You absolutely called it months ago. Any plans on making a video? Yeah, there might be an anniversary video about how Afghanistan has been completely ruined in the wake of Joe Biden's shit. Mandrake, our system is set up for it, but do you think we can ever really get good apples to actually eliminate excess, etc., and roll back the size of government? You need an all-in sort of push politically, which you do, I think, actually see with the MAGA movement at the moment. It's an enormous number of people that are running. If they get in there and have enough power, and they can be pressured by the people that voted for them. So no more complacency and not doing anything other than voting. You have to use your voice and fucking pound the pavement. A concerted enough, large enough civic effort could force them to actually shrink the size of government and its scope. The scope is more important than the size, arguably. It is possible to do. It has happened before. In most of the cases, austerity is just less welfare for the people the government is screwed, and they leave it at that. Now, we need to eliminate, I would say, at least 50% of the bureaucracy. So half of all of the agencies and or people within those agencies, and certainly more than 50% of agency rules. Put the genie back in the bottle, shrink things to roughly the way they were in, I don't know, the 1950s or thereabouts, with a smaller government budget. Focus on the necessary things. Federal government administers federal courts, military, and diplomacy. That's really all it needs to do. There shouldn't be such a star-studded affair over presidential politics anyway. The president was never meant to be as one-sidedly powerful as the U.S. president has become. That was specifically why there was a separation of powers, to keep them from becoming dictatorial. Musically assured destruction. Silly goose, it wasn't a raid. It was a fiery but mostly peaceful search warrant. Yeah, we're lucky that these agents didn't just randomly decide to kill somebody. It happens quite often. Jake Martin, it's payday, Sticks, my boy. Have a slice of my meager pittance. Well, thank you. I will buy energy drinks with that, probably. Mojo Hansen, it takes weeks of preparation to plan a controlled demolition. Building 7 was absolutely planned weeks in advance and was a stitch-up. Not necessarily. The building was already underwhelmed, so you go in there with a bunch of bombs. It was, by the way, a controlled demolition. This is not a conspiracy theory. It's literally admitted to. The idea was that the building's a loss. It's becoming unstable. We're just going to fucking blow it up to make sure it falls into its footprint to stop it from necessarily destroying other neighboring buildings. Jury is still out on some of the details behind that. You didn't get that in the unredacted 9/11 report, I'll notice. The Grizzly, if this raid comes up empty, as is likely, they just gave 24 to Trump. He doesn't even have to run on anything else at this point. Way to pull the pin and forget to throw, fellows. Yeah, I think that might very well happen. Hunter Wadley, any opinion on GOP reps in Pennsylvania? FBI is after them too. Yes, I did see that they seized the cell phone of one individual, one representative there at the airport pertinent to January 6th. They're really reaching at this point. Branch Covidian-19. Is there a way to overcome the machine politics of a state like Illinois? Is it a long-term process? It's an on-the-ground, relentless process. It requires that you be more energized than the opponent or opponents that you face. This is how revolutionary movements actually work. It's not they take up arms and shoot their way into glorious liberty or something. Generally speaking, there's a very long period of civic building up before anything like that happens. There are people right now that are trying to jump the gun. Most of them glow in the dark and try to convince you, well, this is why the Second Amendment was made. We need to defend Donald Trump. I don't think that Trump is actually asking you to do that. He's just fine and probably committed no crime anyway. So just if you have those violent proclivities, just go play some Call of Duty or something for a while. Get it off your mind. Be more positive. We can win. It will require a political solution, contrary to the beliefs of some black pillars and morons out there. Joker 1, a generation ago, Occupy Wall Street had the deep state scared. They managed to have the left chase a transgendered bunny down a hole, and they lived miserable after all. Yeah, so to speak. Yeah, corporations love it, Paul. Amazon's leaked memo there shows that. By the way, there are 5,000 people watching right now cross-platform. We are not live on Twitch at the moment, which actually kind of makes it easier to pay attention to the comments over here because there are a few less comments to pay attention to. I don't know. I don't think that I'm being punished particularly by Twitch. Mr. Twisted Frenzy, in U.S. politics, does the president have the power to completely abolish the civil service? No. No. There are EOs and executive sort of initiates that establish certain powers within bureaus. Those can be undone. But then you have to go through the courts. There were times when Trump tried to negate EOs by Joe Biden, and he was blocked by the court system. Illegally, but he was. David Brunner, hey Sticks, what do you think about people changing their status from U.S. citizen to an American state national? The more I look into this, I am thinking this is a good idea. What are your thoughts? No, I mean, you're still a citizen of the United States. You just happen to also be a citizen of your state. Fubar 2020. I hope Trump sues the shit out of the FBI. No, he should just abolish the FBI when possible. Georgiev, hey Sticks, I think the whole US and EU butchered the handling of China virus. EU printed money like crazy, for example. Here in Bulgaria, we have 16% inflation. Some blame the war also. Your thoughts? Yeah, the lockdowns certainly didn't help. That is a main driver of the economic problems the world is having right now. In fact, I would say it's the most important. In the US, that was state level. That was governors. The reason why I still blame Bidenomics in part is because of his culpability, because he encouraged it. I don't know about Bulgaria's example, and I don't know how you calculate your inflation either. Of course, in the US, they've done fiddling around with math, fuzzy math, so to speak, to focus just on core CPI. Alan Smithy, why are they going after Trump for archive documents he returned in February 2021? Look it up. I don't know what they were there to find. I mean, I guess they were basically on a fishing expedition. The Wizard MF, argument against people saying, but to terrorists? I don't know exactly what you mean by that. I would say, what terrorists? Not many terrorist attacks recently, actually, thankfully. Ian Angel, Sticks, will you do another occult-only live stream, or is that more of a Halloween thing? Clank. Well, yeah, I mean, Halloween is coming. It's August. It's basically the same as Halloween, right? So you never know. At some indefinite time. Colin Madden. Discovered 4 whole chickens in my deep freeze. Any good recipes? Just make chicken and dumplings or something like that. We're looking forward to beef stew in the fairly near future. But right now there is a heat wave. So I don't know that that's really the kind of thing that you want to eat when it's 90 degrees. Aussies Robots continued. Thanks to you and Clankers for your support. Was looking for some bug out land in the Florida Panhandle and can tell you the people there are outraged over Mar-a-Lago. Rural areas are well-armed and virtually unconquerable. Yeah, that's most of the rural United States. That's why they're trying to take land away from farmers. In all honesty, it's because they're afraid of the people that have large amounts of land, are self-sufficient and fairly well-armed. Steve Watt sent 50, I think, Australian dollars. Thank you. Hello, Sticks. I think that Joe and Nancy are silly. Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi, they're more than just silly. They're also fucking corrupt. Well, Joe less so, actually, because, I mean, he forgets about what he was doing so randomly. He can't, I mean, can you even consider someone who's that far gone to be corrupt? It's sort of like dealing with a lunatic. You know, they don't know any better. Nancy Pelosi is evil, however. She's not demented. She's just very incoherent. Sparky, is absence of good evil or just indifference? Just indifference. Battle Elf, I'll be forced to downgrade from a Scat Pack to a Zozo RT57 for the win. Put in a word to Moloch for me, Sticks. Steven Nizek, uh-oh, we missed out on a Sticks Lucansad stream? I don't know exactly what that refers to. Sparky, go FBI, take the CIA with you. So yeah, they're trying to fearmonger about the GOP response. Oh my God, they're distrusting the government and the veracity of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Fuck the FBI, who cares? Yes, they've never been corrupt before. They had no human rights violation problems for about the first 50 years of their existence. They don't get retroactively grilled about half of their major actions. This will be, by the way, I think one of them. Now we have Ron Filipkowski on Twitter. He's a big-time leftoid. He's got the Ukrainian flag, so again, the intelligence level might be a little bit lacking on his comments. Republicans now want to abolish the FBI, CIA, IRS, Department of Education, impeach the president and vice president, DHS secretary and AG, put the NIH director in prison, and it's only Tuesday. Yeah, this is a tweet that's a couple days old. Man, you're making the Republicans seem good. I used to think those were libertarian positions. I'm glad that a mainline party finally came around to our wisdom. Yeah, absolutely they should be abolished. Absolutely Biden should be held to account for his corruption. Fuck the FBI raid. He should have been impeached long ago for his unconstitutional acts regarding farm aid. Do you remember that one? The idea that you would use race as a determinant in who gets a bailout during the COVIDiot crisis for farm aid, for farmers, small businesses, restaurants also. That was shot down. What about the oil lease kerfuffle? Attacks on the U.S.-owned energy industry. What about the fact that the Biden administration is openly hostile towards parts of the Constitution, especially the right to a fair trial, number one, and the right to bear arms, while you're trying to send tens of billions of taxpayer dollars to Ukraine? What about the constant stream of lies with regards to economic news? What about the absolute and objective propaganda spewed out by the White House through the legacy media? They admit to it. It was admitted 2 months ago by Oliver Darcy that the White House was coordinating with CNN and other legacy networks to try to spin economic news. All of these things are potentially actionable, at least in a roundabout way. Of course he should be impeached. And Kamala won't do her job. She should be impeached for dereliction of duty. She's the border czar. To this day, a year and a half later, she's never even seen the southern border. Well, she has no clue what's going on. She won't do her job. And screw DHS and their secretary and the attorney general. Merrick Garland does not deserve his job either. He clearly knew that a former president was going to be raided, and according to the White House, he didn't even fucking tell him beforehand, potentially causing riots and other problems, retaliatory. Now, they're trying to convince me that every other MAGA fan is a terrorist just waiting to blow their stack. If you actually think that, don't you think it's a dereliction not to prepare before the raid? I would think so. I think Merrick Garland should be out. And as far as Fauci, the NIH director, yes, he never should have been put in the first place. He's completely flubbed it. The COVID response failed. You still have plenty of cases. The vaccination rate appears to have effectively dropped off a cliff. You keep telling me that these things are very important, but they're not happening. What has he accomplished? Absolutely nothing. So yeah, I mean, you're making the GOP sound sane. I think that this was supposed to be a hit on the GOP. Oh my God, they're so extreme and fanatic. They hate the government. Okay, so they sound a little bit like maybe wishy-washy versions of libertarians. You make them sound a little bit better now that way, don't you? Lev Polyakov, forgot to mention, was in touch with Anomaly, and he may be interested in doing another debate. Oh, maybe. Yeah, I'll wait with bated breath on that one. I highly doubt that he'll actually take me up on the offer that he accepted before on his own live stream when he was being trolled by hundreds of people. But I'll let it go for now. I'll let him pretend to be relevant still with his mainly Facebook audience, by the way. So I'm sure you beat me with the 60+ crowd anomaly. I feel threatened by you. Greven Share, greetings from the swamps of D.C. Even my lib co-workers think the FBI raid was a big mistake. They are too far gone to vote for Trump, though. Yeah, there are people that are getting demoralized among the liberals because of this, because they think there will be backlash, and I think they're right. E. Lombard, hey, from Boston, your thoughts on Tim Wise's deplorable tweet? Thank you. I know nothing about this subject at the moment. I'm sure I'll look it up. Late in life redneck. Here in the United Socialist state of Illinois, we have 12 million residents and 8 million are in the Chicagoland area. Millions need to turn into clankers or nothing happens. If that's the case, just leave the state. If enough people leave, it deprives them of political representation and effectively devolves them into a city-state with nothing else around it. Then we've got, my Twitch ban. We'll talk about that briefly. I know it's not the most relevant thing in the world. There were apparently a lot of people that didn't know that I was even using Twitch. And I just said, dear Twitch support. What? Because I didn't even fucking understand. Here's their message to me from yesterday when they banned me. Hello, Stick666 official. Twitch is committed to keeping our community safe for everyone. And as a part of that, we require all users to ensure that anything shared on their account abides by Twitch's terms of service and community guidelines. Okay, sounds sort of like YouTube's lead-in. That's fine. Based on a review of your activity or content, we have issued a community guidelines strike on your account. Okay, I got a strike. We'll see what it's for. Due to the severe nature of this violation or the fact that you've incurred multiple violations, the latter did not occur. I've never had a strike on the platform. Your access to Twitch services is indefinitely restricted. I can almost hear the 90 to 120 or so people that were paying attention to my stream, half of which showed up to actually support my work, are very sad right now. The others, I don't know, I guess they're probably congratulating one another right now. Just think, there is someone out there who flagged the channel, or probably everything that I've uploaded to the channel, really, when you think about it. There's someone out there with an Antifa poster who thinks that this is some sort of victory and is like enjoying their celebratory energy drink right now, or Soyan, probably. There's a moderator out there that actually looked through my channel, didn't even bother to check the material, and pressed down the channel, probably after Googling me and seeing that I had a Rational Wiki article or something. They think that this is meaningful. Dude, on a good stream, I had 100 people watching me on Twitch. Twitch is a backwater for political commentary that I threw in there, mainly because it would collate directly to StreamYard. Otherwise, I'm using Odyssey. In fact, as of tomorrow, I appealed the decision, not that I really give a fuck. If I'm not reinstated on Twitch, I'll just start using Odyssey as the third service that I stream to. The only disadvantage for me is that I need another tab open, because otherwise, the comments don't go to StreamYard, which is what I use. Who cares? I had barely over 5,000 people were subscribed to me there. Yes, I know that seems like a lot to some of you out there, but for someone with a 500,000 people following on YouTube is not huge, and very low engagement, because the site is mainly for gaming streams and for flirty ASMR and people with low-cut blouses and no attention span. There's a reason why Twitch is falling off as a platform. Getting on Twitch 5 years ago may be meaningful, not so much lately. And then their reason here is fucking hilarious, but I'll get through a couple of super chats. Hold on to your asses, because their excuse for banning me is pretty funny. Where did I leave off, though? That's the question. Oh, yeah. Established Lord Fred of Dankytown. If 2022 goes well enough, how long would it take to shrink the IRS again? Just to fund it at the House level, that's all you have to do. Cut their funding in half, and they can't fill those positions without potentially firing other people or cutting hours or something. JM, I'm 30 and went to the John Birch Society meeting this past weekend. I heard everyone to join the John Birch Society. I've looked into them some. Battle Elf, hi-ho, hi-ho, it's off to court I go for a Zozo speeding citation. Out. Well, have fun with that. At least it's nothing major. Nuclear Taco, finally made it for a live stream. Enjoy the diaper funds. We need them. Luka Pilipovic, remind me, when does Liz Cheney lose her job? I believe that is in 5 days. I believe that the Wyoming primary is on the 16th. I am betting 25 to 30 point gap between Hageman and her. It's going to be a bloodbath. That'd be hilarious. Michael Cricklow, Anomaly has always been suspect. No, I just think he's unintelligent, which is something that he echoed about literally all of you, not realizing that a significant proportion of our fan bases overlapped. So I was just saying, like, you're wrong and shit like that. And he went completely apeshit on me. You'll remember in our live debate, which was, I think, last year or something, and started saying that, well, your fans are very unintelligent. They're totally out of touch. I don't know what's happening. They're pieces of shit, basically. And I'm thinking to myself, you do realize probably a double-digit proportion of these people overlap. That would be like I go on Tim Pool's show and I start bad-mouthing him and saying, your fans suck. Your fans are just retards or something like that. I'm implicating probably tens of thousands of people that watch my content, putting them into a situation where they're probably going to side with one or the other person, and they ain't all going to side with me. I think he lost subscribers after that debate, which is hilarious. Oh boy, that was funny. If he's willing to debate, we'll have a debate, but I'm skeptical because it's been many, many months since we clanked on his stream. Apparently, we have to do it again. And the reason why I was banned from Twitch. Reason, harmful misinformation actor. I have gained a new moniker, one that's not used on other websites. Repeatedly spreading misinformation that threatens the safety of our community, which can include harmful health misinformation, civic misinformation, or misinformation promoting violent conspiracy networks such as QAnon. Okay, well, that sounds, I guess, by modern standards, okay, it's reasonable-ish, kind of, sort of. Unnecessary, but it's no more draconian than other big tech sites. Examples of violative conduct include, but are not limited to, repeatedly promoting harmful health treatments such as drinking bleach, and we won't mention that because YouTube's algorithm might literally take this stream down if I do. Not only is that a mythology, it was never actually promoted by anyone. Please tell me where I have even mentioned anything regarding medical health on any of the streams that have gone up on Twitch. It's straight up news reporting. I don't even talk about that shit anymore because it's irrelevant. Nobody cares. Sharing and promoting the core tenets of violent conspiracy networks such as QAnon. I imagine Antifa is not on this list. I am anti-QAnon because leftoids like you are literally the ones promoting it. Just to be clear, Twitch is like 99% just a bunch of commies. That and gaming. And then commies that watch gaming. Persistently sharing widely debunked vaccine misinformation. Please name where I've even talked about that subject. I go out of my way generally to not even mention it. Not just on Twitch. Fuck. I'm live on YouTube at the same time I am on Twitch. I notice I don't have any problems there. Rumble, of course, they're not going to censor me even if I engaged in these things. I could make the Hail QAnon video and Rumble wouldn't give a shit. I am anti-QAnon because I don't believe in liberal LARPs and I'm too intelligent for astroturfing and glowing ones. I'm not anti-vax. Hell, I got shit years and years ago. I made a video about all the hippies that didn't want to get vaccinated and how they were fucking stupid and they were going to get diseased, and that aged like fine wine, by the way. By the way, self-fulfilling prophecy, all the people that do promote vaccines, trying to push them has caused more hesitance. That's about the only thing that I pointed out recently, and it's objective. It's beyond. In fact, I think the WHO itself has alluded to this problem. Writer of the Metal Horse, what do you think about a convention of states to deal with the federal government? Would it work? Yeah, potentially. You got to get all the states on board. Detritus of Seattle. Don wants to abolish the FBI and CIA. Me, anarchoid leftist. Are you trying to threaten me with a good time? Lots and lots of fuck off. We get a lot of super chats here. Jesus Christ. I'm trying to get through them all while covering the news. I'm only halfway through it. Ray C, Anomaly Meltdown. It was great when you were on Hotep Jesus talking about it afterwards. That was a good night. And that was a very fun time. Ninja Bearfish, did Japan's whole government just fall and resign? Is this a sign of the end of everyone else's government? I don't know. Let me look up Japan. I saw something about 4chan on that earlier. I didn't know it was being referred to. Any news on Japan here? Just at a quick glance. No, I'm not seeing anything like that myself. Let's see. Havercamp Truth. The other tools are making an anti-Styx YouTube. Styx henchman, you have my sword, my liege, metaphorically speaking, of course. Okay, now we can get to the next news story. Excellent. So yeah, I was banned on Twitch, and it's like, who gives a fuck? I've got almost, I've got more than 6,000 people watching live right now. A drop in the bucket, like 1.5% of the live viewing audience was from Twitch. And I never made any money there because I never bothered to monetize, so you're not really punishing my wallet. Why did you even bother to ban me? Who gives a shit? Now we've got CNN Business making an admission here. Crypto is making a comeback. Is the crypto winter finally over? And in the scorching heat of summer, no less, Bitcoin prices have stabilized around the 23,000 to 24,000 level after plunging below 20K in June. The prices of Ethereum and other leading digital currencies have also rallied in the past 2 months, leading to hopes that this nascent market may have reached its bottom. I generally agree. Disclaimer, by the way, I'm not giving you official investment or financial advice because I'm not a financial advisor, certainly not yours. I am continuing to hold all my crypto. By the way, if you want to donate crypto to me, links in the description. You can, my wallet keys or whatever the fuck they're called are in there. So you can give me some Litecoin or Bitcoin or whatever. Some of you are bearish on it. You think it'll become worthless. You might as well offload it onto me. Give me your worthless junk. It's sort of like, I look at it as like, somebody, they're doing like a fucking cleaning out their attic. They get a bunch of old toys from the 70s. And they don't realize that you can get like $10 a pop for them on eBay. And so they just sort of dump them out by the curb and people just come and pick them up and then sell them on eBay. I've had that experience at yard sales, by the way. I made quite a bit of money a couple years in a row actually doing that. I have an eye for antiques. Not a banned account. Chances Repubs follow through on abolishing the FBI and IRS? Low, but at least it's measurable. And it's actually something that's possible. So I say, give it a shot. And if they disappoint, you kick their asses out of office. The Grizzly, it's not even the leftists that I'm worried about. It's the soccer mom shrieking Karens jingling their nimbly bracelets. They just simple-mindedly vote because CNN tells them to, and they outnumber the commies 10-1. Yeah, the NIMBY Karens are a problem. Legion Bunny, first time catching this live. A toke for the long hair and to the success of your channel. Well, thank you. Colin Madden, maybe more personal than you'd like to comment on. Is there any part of you that's concerned you may be on U.S. government's radar now that you're a parent? Oh, I'm sure that there's a handler that looks into my shit like every other content creator. I was on their naughty list of influencers years ago, so I just sort of presume that I'm on their radar, which is another reason why I'm careful with my taxes. But no, I'm not particularly worried. I'm not doing anything wrong. Don't worry, I'm not doing straw purchases or drug sales or any bullshit like that. I make plenty of money doing exactly this, so fucking leave me alone. I don't need the government in my life. Mustafa Degrade, I think Obama and Hillary are behind the raid. Biden doesn't know his arms from a water hose. This has Obama and Hillary written all over it. No, I think it has Merrick Garland written all over it. I think you'll find that Merrick Garland is partially centrally responsible for this. Kinetic Cowboy, Clank Coin is going to be a thing. You heard it first here. Cameron Vesey, do you know that every American crypto exchange has to store a third of their keys in old school fiscal brick and mortar vaults? No, I didn't. Interesting. I don't keep mine on the exchange, though, for obvious reasons. Now we've got an MSNBC bit. This is from the Readout blog, so obviously it's congratulating this. Judge clears way for Biden to kill an ugly Trump immigration policy. Yes, the blockage of Remain in Mexico has been effectively overcome, and Biden is planning to phase that out. So here's what's going to happen. And this is taken as a victory, by the way, by the left. The left that really is concerned about wage growth. So keeping that in mind, their screwiness. What this means is that if a person illegally crosses the southern border and claims asylum, you don't know if they're eligible for asylum. You don't necessarily even know where they're from. After the initial processing, they can remain in the United States while they're undergoing, their background checks and stuff that generally never actually happen. See, the problem is that most of these people will simply disappear. They're not going to sit there for 2-3 months in the same location and not do anything. It's not feasible for them to do so anyway. Remain in Mexico, the idea was, hey, we don't know that you're actually eligible to apply for asylum. There's this other country, a safe third country, that's willing to accommodate you in the meantime. You've made your claim, you remain in Mexico. If we decide to let you in, then you may come across. And it's a good policy. They're calling it an ugly or racist policy. Firstly, again, immigrants not a race. Secondly, the idea that Mexico's facilities, oh, they're terrible, they're shabby and stuff. Well, then get the Mexicans to upgrade them. We've got our facilities on the southern border are full too. It doesn't seem to matter what we do. Nothing stops the problem because we don't have an administration that's willing to actually hardline the issue and do anything about it. They want more slaves. They're hoping that these people will come across illegally, many of them not eligible for asylum. They'll claim it, though. They file a couple papers, falsify their info probably, then they disappear. Well, problem solved. There's plenty of illegals in the country for Joe Biden to exploit for cheap shit, so that the NIMBY middle classers can continue to feel good about themselves for being so progressive, that all of the cheap shit that they want to buy was literally grown or manufactured by illegals, by servants. It's the servant class of the NIMBYist middle classers, and they don't want to discuss this. Shane Keena. The NIMBYs freak out whenever there's a building 2 stories higher than average being built. They hold outsized veto power and things like this. Dump them. Oddly enough, not in California anymore. They're trying to get rid of all the zoning systems, which is hilarious. Next one. Inflation climbed 8.5% in July as prices cool, but remain near record high. Yes, the Biden administration, as we will separately, I believe, talk about here. Yes, the next one is related to it. Is claiming there is 0% inflation right now. This was echoed by the vice president this morning, which is not true. Inflation is at 8.5%. Real inflation is about 15%, which is already higher than it was during the Carter stagflation period. It's already well in the double digits. It's not actually easing. And as I explained this morning, and we'll try to now, there's a very simple reason for that. The inflation numbers that you're seeing are not comparable month over month. They only compare year over year. 8.5% is the growth in those core products year over year from last July. But last July, you already had almost 5.5% inflation. So you already had a price hike at that point. The newer hiked up price is then amplified further by a new percentage. It doesn't use the original total. There's no absolute solid ground total for the cost of goods upon which all of these numbers are extrapolated. It's a relative number, and it's a compounding number. And that compounding means that 8.5 is fucking dire. Now, over the next few months, if you look back at last year's inflation rate, for July, August, and September, the rate was roughly stable last year. I would expect inflation will be around this number. Look at the next 2 numbers, though. If it goes up, that's goddamn terrible news. If it remains stable, it's not great news, but, you deal with it. If it does fall, that means peak inflation is probably here. To be clear, if inflation does manage to fall more than 0.1 or 0.2 next month, that's a good sign the economy finally is getting done with Bidenomics bullshit. The problem being that in the last year, we've passed more funny money spending. That'll hit hard. The other problem being that you're going to get the Putin price hikes next month. They're not apparent now because it's not the harvest season. You're moving into it currently. That will show up a few months later. Right before midterms, by the way. James Bass, claiming 8.5 inflation is a laughable joke. Inflation is closer to 10. No, it's actually 16 or thereabouts. It's higher than you think as well. The problem for the Biden administration is that when people actually go to the store, that's when they see the real inflation numbers. Again, the 8.5 is a year-over-year increase over a number that had already been substantially increased beyond wages and well beyond historic norms. So you've taken a number and you've grown it by a percentage. Then you've grown that new number. Now, keep in mind, the absolute number is now bigger too. You've grown that by an even larger percentage. It would be impossible for the inflation rate at some point, unless you're hyperinflating, not to at least stabilize. It's physically impossible. It would have to. The fact is that at this point, if it's not negative inflation, it's going beyond wages simply because it's gauged against yesteryear's already inflated prices. E100 Omega 123. General Milley was bragging he was going to resign if Trump won, but then was going to stay on to subvert him. Overseeing the worst military defeat since Vietnam under Biden, that's fine. A Trump presidency, too much. And keep in mind that Milley's own memo basically exonerates Trump as well. Even the people that hate him accidentally help him. Mega Sea Monkey for the energy drink bank. Cheers. WJ Dad, leftoids and legacy media believe the majority will believe their propaganda. Are they wrong? Oh yeah, 50-50. No, I think they are wrong. I don't think that people are believing it. Not on the Trump raid, and not on many other things at this point. Jebediah Kerman, actually, inflation is 420%. Do your research. Yeah, probably is, like, over the last 10 years. It probably is some crazy number by now. And then paired with that was Biden's gaffe. Now, initially, when I did the tags the other day, so I put this in as a legendary Biden gaffe, but it's not actually a gaffe. It's far worse. Biden, before I begin today, I want to say a word about the news that came out relative to the economy. I want to say a number. 0. Today we received news our economy had 0% inflation in the month of July. 0%. This is wrong. Initially, and I think everyone else said, okay, it's a gaffe. What he means is that the inflation rate didn't rise month over month. Even that, though, linguistically doesn't make perfect sense because actually the inflation rate technically compared to the last month, which isn't really meaningful, but, you know, he can make this argument because people are lemmings, technically fell from 9.1 to 8.5. That sounds good. Why didn't Joe Biden come out and say the inflation rate dropped by more than half a point? That would sound good. Instead, we thought that this was a gaffe and that's what he meant, but it's not what he said. And so he was, confused. He was just basically trying to say the inflation rate didn't rise, but he said it wrong. But it's not a gaffe. Believe it or not, he actually meant this. We know this because Kamala Harris, who at the very least is not demented, echoed the same sentiment not that many hours later. As I reported on this morning, she made a post at that point only 5 hours old. It said the same thing. So around 2 a.m. the next day, apparently the White House didn't get the memo about how poorly panned this was because it's pretty well being panned. We'll go through some more super chats. I will have to, I believe, cut it short very quickly. I'm going to, I'll cover the Bieber thing in a minute. Let's see. Miku 4X bot, I wake up at 8 and you stream at 7. I wake up at 7 and you stream at 8. Aye. Sorry there. No more super chats, please. Mega Sea Monkey, inflation is everywhere. I was looking at some electric guitars and all of them were $200 to $300 up compared to last year. Jon Snow, Sticks, you're based for your information. Thank you. Yeah, don't send any more super chats. I might not be able to get to them here. And then we have the final one. Just really quick. This is funny, so I'll only spend a minute on it. Judah Ari Gross. This is a Times of Israel reporter and I guess provocateur. Justin Bieber, who apparently is still a thing, decided to goose step and do a Sieg Heil at a concert in Finland yesterday. The Conference of European Rabbis denounced his actions and demands an explanation. Will he repeat the performance when he comes to Israel this fall? Now, I've got the archive there, but you can go to the live version on Twitter. Just grab it from above. That's not goose stepping. That's just strutting on stage and literally holding a microphone up. The fact is that these people are desperate for actual hate, which is fairly absent, generally speaking. So you've gotten me to the point where I have to defend fucking Justin Bieber. Don't you think you've gone a little bit beyond the pale? I'm just saying that might be a little bit excessive. And then I see their astroturfing, by the way, on 4chan and elsewhere, trying to insinuate that, Bieber actually did mean that, even though that's not the case, clearly, in order to try to label him base to make more problems. So, yeah, Justin Bieber, I have a feeling maybe this is because of his friendship with Marilyn Manson. So he's being harassed endlessly by the same people that don't like him and Kanye and some of this other, and Johnny Depp, by the way, also friends with him. Some of this outsider crowd of people that sort of follow a little bit of a different whiskey-soaked path than generally Hollywood and the music industry do. Comma EQ for the serenading sweetheart. Well, thank you anyway. But yeah, no more super chats. I just wanted to joke about this because people are panning it. They understand this is not goose stepping. He was not heiling, the Fuhrer or anything like that. He was holding up the microphone with one hand and he was strutting. I think it's called the peacock strut specifically. Fucking every other pop and rock star does this. Certainly people involved in hip-hop bullshit like Justin Bieber. You don't have to like his music to understand this is a hit piece. The Conference of European Rabbis actually saw this video, by the way, and thought that this was fascistic in some nature. Well, then they definitely need to get their eyes checked because I've watched the video a couple of times. Unfortunately, I had to fucking watch Justin Bieber there for a few minutes. Yeah, dude, you got nothing. He shouldn't apologize. What he should do is come out and say, are you people completely nuts? He should come out and ridicule you. Maybe he should give money to the Palestinians just as a joke, just to antagonize them further. So yeah, anyway, I'm going to go off here. So I thank you all for tuning in. By the way, I think we hit 7,000 live viewers. No thanks to Twitch, which banned me. Again, the 50 to 100 or whatever people that watch me there. I do apologize. You're probably watching me on one of these other platforms anyway. I'm assuming I'll probably just I'll stream on Odyssey again. I'll add that in as the third one. There are some issues with Odyssey, but I mean, they might have figured them out by now. I might get more people watching than on Twitch, so yeah, bye. That's about all. Peace out.